All Renegades of Puck to the trenches. It's time for Renegades of Puck TV. Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the essence of no half steppin'. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier, and we would like to again make you aware of our major announcement. It's the home base freakout, and it is happening February 25th at 7 p.m., and that is going to take place at Tailgate Brewery at the Demunbrian location. That is 1538 Demunbrian Street. The night before the Stadium Series, the world's biggest tailgate is going to take place right there at Tailgate Brewery. We're going to have special guests. We're going to have giveaways. My good friend Showtime Eric Young is going to be there. He's going to bring all of his rowdy friends, and he'd like to tell you about it right now.
Hey world, this is Eric Young, and if I got an announcement for you, February 25th, live from Nashville, Tennessee, and Tailgate Brewery, the hometown freakout. We did it in Dallas, now we're doing it again. Preds fans, Lightning fans, hockey fans, and everyone in between. You're invited to kick it off with us on February 25th. That's Friday night, right here at Tailgate Brewery, Nashville, Tennessee. Let's get crazy.
Thank you so much, EY. No cover, and we will be open at 7 o'clock, and we will go on until the event needs to go on. A place for everyone in the hockey community to come and gather. I offer safe passage to anyone out there. It is time to come together for one giant hockey house party, all out of stick taps, love, and respect. I invite each and every one of you out there to come and join us for the home base freakout the night before the Stadium Series here in Nashville, Tennessee. We cannot wait to host this most epic event. Now, please go to renegadesofpuck.com. And when you're at renegadesofpuck.com, not only will you be able to get all of the information about the Renegades of Puck, but if you click on that merchandise link, it will take you to a store full of amazing gimmicks. You can find our original logo t-shirt. You can also find our Pride logo t-shirt, but it's not just that. We've sold out so that you can buy it, whether it's socks or throw pillows, wall art, bed sets, it doesn't matter. Nearly 50 different items in the store. That's right, we call them gimmicks. We've sold out so you can buy in, and every single dollar that we make off the profit of these sales of our merchandise, it goes right back into helping build the bunker and helping out the Renegades of Puck. Built by Renegades for Renegades, we appreciate each and every one of you for the merchandise you've been picking up from our store as of late. We'll have new announcements on new t-shirts coming up here very soon. Also, social media, it is of critical importance right now that you help us out by sharing the event link and all of the event info for the home base freakout. It is also critically important that you go to YouTube and give us a subscription. We are doing an incredible job right now of building that subscriber base up, so go ahead and turn on those notifications and be ready. We are producing content at a rate that is simply incredible. We appreciate all of you for keeping up with all of the information coming out of the trenches as of late. Facebook is a perfect way that you can share that link with each and every one of the Renegades in your life. Twitter is also a place where you'll find the Renegades of Puck. Instagram, and of course, the audio-only version of the show can be found on SoundCloud. Our behind-the-scenes stream, that takes place on Twitch. If there are any mistakes made in the bunker, if there are any second takes, if there are any crazy F-bombs dropped, you'll find them on our behind-the-scenes live stream there on Twitch. So give us a follow on any and all of those different platforms. Finally, you can become a partner of the Renegades of Puck, and we have received some incredible and generous donations from Renegades just like you. Whether it's just a couple of bucks to help me buy some pens and some new paper to keep all of these notes going for all of these game recaps, or if you can spare a little bit more to help us continue adding and building out the bunker, we sure would appreciate that. You can go to Venmo and search Renegades of Puck, or you can just scan the QR code that's currently on your screen. Again, any donation helps the Renegades of Puck. With the back-to-back coming up, I could sure use a cup of coffee. Somebody send me a cup of coffee over the weekend right there on Venmo. Now listen, you come here for the no half-step in hockey coverage, so it's time for the Renegades of Puck to deliver the goods. The Nashville Predators now have played 39 games on the season after this afternoon's action. They have a record of 24-12-3, 51 points, has them first place in the Central Division. The Nashville Predators' next opponent, the St. Louis Blues, will be playing a game later tonight. They currently sit at 49 points, 2 points behind the Nashville Predators. So going into Monday night's game, the Nashville Predators and the St. Louis Blues could find themselves tied at 51 points apiece. But no matter what, that game on Monday night will be for first place in the Central Division. The Colorado Avalanche also have 49 points. Then you'll find the Minnesota Wild 5 points back at 46. The Winnipeg Jets are 12 points back at 39. The Dallas Stars are 13 back, and then Chicago 18 back, and the Arizona Coyotes, one of the worst teams, frankly, ever, are 31 points currently back of first place in the Central Division. The Nashville Predators have only played the St. Louis Blues one time so far this season, and that has felt very unusual considering the amount of games the Nashville Predators have played. In the normal times, the Preds play the St. Louis Blues. They'll play a total of 4 times this year, so this will be the second of 4 meetings. The next time they'll play will be at Bridgestone Arena on March the 12th, and they will close out the season series on April the 17th, also at Bridgestone Arena. They played once this season, and it was the Nashville Predators defeating the St. Louis Blues in St. Louis 4-3 in overtime. That took place on November the 1st. Matt Duchene, 2 goals and an assist in that game, and it was Cunnin and Trennan with the other goals for the Nashville Predators. Riddick got the start and the victory, 33 saves on 36 shots against. For the Nashville Predators, it was going into a very tough building and coming away with a very impressive victory. Just one of the Nashville Predators' numerous impressive victories that they've had in tough buildings this season. After this, that will be the last time they'll have to go to St. Louis, barring a best-of-7 series come in the playoffs. Now listen, when we talk about the St. Louis Blues, they've played 37 games this season, 2 fewer than the Nashville Predators. They'll make one of those games up tonight versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. They currently have a record of 22-10-5. That has them at 49 points. On home ice, a record of 15-3-2. One of those losses, one of those overtime losses, coming to the Nashville Predators back on November the 1st, as we just discussed. The Nashville Predators have an impressive road record of 13-6-3. In goal differential, the St. Louis Blues have scored 128 times this season and have yet to give up 100 goals. They've given up 99 on the year. The Preds have scored 121 times and given up 107. For the St. Louis Blues, taking a look at their most recent stretch of hockey, we'll go back and take a look at 5 games, not including tonight's game at Toronto. 1-1, 6-4 win versus the Minnesota Wild. On 1-5, a 5-3 loss at the Pittsburgh Penguins. On the 7th of January, 5-1 win versus Washington. And on the 9th, a 2-1 win versus Dallas. Most recently, a 2-1 victory versus the Seattle Kraken. When you take a look at what the Nashville Predators have upcoming on their schedule, once they finish off this game in St. Louis, the final game of this 2-game road trip that had them going through Boston, full recap coming up of that game momentarily, then this game in St. Louis. They'll head back on home tomorrow, Tuesday, to face off against the Vancouver Canucks. Then Thursday, we'll host the Winnipeg Jets, and Saturday, we'll host the Detroit Red Wings, wrapping up a 3-game homestand before heading out to the Northwest in Seattle and Edmonton. Comparing the NHL rankings between these two clubs, St. Louis is piling up a bunch of impressive metrics. 3.41 goals per game is 5th best in the NHL, while they are 8th best in goals against. The Nashville Predators at 3.08 are 14th best in the league at 2.72 goals against. They are sitting at 11th. The St. Louis Blues are generating 31.9 shots on goal per game, 14th best in the league, 31.8 against. That's 19th. The Preds are 23rd and 14th in those metrics, respectable. And here is where you will find the St. Louis Blues separating themselves from a lot of other teams. Special teams has simply been very impressive for the Blues. 29.6% conversion rate on the power play, 32 out of 108, is second best overall in the NHL. The Preds bring the 4th best power play into St. Louis, scoring 31 times out of 117 opportunities and converting at 26.5%. The penalty kill for the St. Louis Blues is rated 7 slots higher than the Preds. The Preds find themselves in 12th. The St. Louis Blues in 5th, stopping 84.2% of the opportunities that they are shorthanded. The COVID list for the Nashville Predators has been altered a little bit. Unfortunately for the Preds, Philip Forsberg still on the list, unable to get clear. Ekholm now has been added to the list. That happened just before the game against the Boston Bruins. We did see Trennan get back in the lineup, which is great news for the Nashville Predators. We do see some highly talented individuals on both of these clubs for the Nashville Predators. They are paced statistically by the captain Roman Josi Josi, 13 goals and 26 assists for 39 points. Matt Duchene at 17 and 17 for 34. Mikhail Granlund at 5 goals and 28 assists has 33 points. Ryan Johansson at 10 goals and 20 assists has 30 points. Then you'll find Forsberg at 18 and 11 for 29. And Tanner Jeannot leading all rookies in goals with 12, 11 assists added to that for 23 points. Then UC Saros in net, 20, 10, and 2 and 9.26 save percentage and a 2.35 goals against average. Some of the individual stats on the St. Louis side of things, Kyrou leading the team in scoring as he has done for the majority of this season. 14 goals and 23 assists for 37 points. Pavel Buchnevich at 14 goals and 21 assists for 35 points. Then you'll see Vladimir Tarasenko, who always notoriously has a good game against the Nashville Predators. 14 goals and 20 assists for 34 points. Barbashev at 13 and 16 for 29. Thomas at 4 and 24 for 28. And Jordan Binnington at 11, 7 and 3, a 9.10 save percentage, and a 2.90 goals against average. The Nashville Predators, this will only be their second time playing the St. Louis Blues this season. St. Louis Blues have been surging as of late, but the Preds have proven time after time that they can go into very difficult buildings and play a very solid game. Now, if they had started out the game a little bit stronger against the Boston Bruins, who knows if the result would have been different. But they've proven they can go into St. Louis, and they've proven they can beat the Blues already this season for the Nashville Predators. First place on the line in the Central Division. Can they hold their position, or will they come back home to face off against the Vancouver Canucks less than 24 hours later, suddenly finding themselves as part of the chase pack? It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. Rebirth Sports, you can find them on Facebook and Twitter. You can also go to the website, rebirthsports.com. Renegade couriers all week long have been delivering the goods. They have been delivering brand new Renegades of Puck jerseys all over the hockey landscape. I am so proud to partner with Rebirth Sports. They are incredible people and an incredible company, and they are really an example of what a small business should be and what a small business can do. Everywhere I go when I wear Rebirth Sports gear, people stop me and they ask me about it. Whether I'm in the rink or I'm out there on the street, or like Sean C. Smith, I'm just out there at the grocery store picking some things up. People want to know, where did that jersey come from? The answer, simple. It came from Rebirth Sports. They've outfitted the Renegades of Puck with some of the best looking gear in the hockey landscape, and it's not just the Renegades of Puck. We're proud to share that with so many other hockey clubs across the United States and beyond. Rebirth Sports delivers the goods each and every time. Please let them know how much we were talking about them and how much you appreciate what they do to support independent hockey coverage and the Renegades of Puck. Rebirth Sports. Check them out, rebirthsports.com. Now, let's get into the rebirthsports.com full game recap. It was all the way back on 1/15 of the year 2022, or about an hour and a half ago, when the Nashville Predators took on the Boston Bruins in Boston. Here's how John Hines deployed his lineup. Cousins, Johansson, and Cunnin make up your first line. Tolvin and Granlund and Duchene. Trennan, Sissons, and Jeannot, better known as the Herd line. Luff, McCarron, and Tomasino will make up your fourth line. Josi and Fabro, Carrier and Benning, Borowiecki and Myers are your defensive pairings, and UC Saros gets the start in net. We go to 2:55 for the first period, and UC Saros comes up with a save on Bergeron from long range. No trouble there, but unfortunately for the Nashville Predators, it's former Nashville Predator Craig Smith with his fifth goal of the season, a bar-down wrist shot from the dot off of the rush. We have seen that play many times before. Boston has a 1-0 lead in this game on home ice, and the Nashville Predators are not off to a very good start. 5:11 of the first period, Cousins drives the net with some jam. Linus Ullmark holds the line and comes up with the big save. 7:38, Boston's on the board for a second time. Riley's got his fourth goal of the game, making it 2-0. Holla with the perfect setup, another former Nashville Predator. Then an incredible cut across the top of the crease, a delay, a hold, and outweighed Saros, and finally tucked the puck in from a sharp angle. That was one high-skill individual goal by Riley. You've got to give him the stick taps for that goal. John Hines is seen on the bench at this point, not being very impressed with the team's effort. We go to 14:30 of the first period, and the Nashville Predators get themselves on the board. It's Colton Sissons' fifth goal of the season. He cuts to the middle and takes the wrist shot that beats Linus Ullmark, giving the Nashville Predators their first goal of the game and cutting Boston's lead to 2-1. We do hit the end of the first period. Boston's out shooting Nashville 10-6 overall. At 3:40 of the second period, McCarron and Forbert are going off to the box 5 minutes each. Really, only one punch seemed to connect in this, and it was an uppercut by McCarron that landed solidly, and they go off to the box. At 4:04 of the second period, Trennan misses the net off of Josi's behind-the-back pass. from the half wall. It was a perfect setup into the slot area, and Trennan looks to sweet hockey Jesus as he misses the upper corner of the net. 4:19 of the second period. Carlo's off to the box. 2 minutes for cross-checking on Granlund. Ullmark comes up with a glove save on Yossi's very heavy shot. Highlight reel save for Ullmark on this opportunity. 3 shots against in total for the Nashville Predators on the power play. Plenty of zone time, but unable to convert. The Nashville Predators have 7 shots on goal in the first 7 minutes of the second period after only generating 6 on net in the entirety of the first 20 minutes of the game. At 7:33, Luke Cunning's got his 8th goal of the season, tying this game up at 2 apiece. It was a wrist shot from out high. Did it glance off of the D? Not entirely sure, but Ullmark was certainly beaten clean, and the traffic seemed to be having an effect as multiple layers of players were cutting across the zone. Brand new hockey game halfway through. 10:03. Saros is coming up with a save on Marchand. 10:14. Saros a save on Smith at close range. 13:31. Marchand gets hit, gets his nose broken. Looked like Josi butt-ended him coming out of the corner, but Marchand throws himself down on the ice so often that the referees honestly did not even take a look. I don't think even consider making a call on this, but when you saw Marchand on the bench just a couple of minutes later, it was clear something broke his nose and something involving Roman Josi. The Bruins are pushing the plate very hard against the Nashville Predators, but the Preds are maintaining and competing in this game. It is extremely physical out there, and good news, the referees are largely letting the two teams play. It's a lot of fun out there on the ice. We go to 19:57 of the second period. UC Saros comes up with a save on Bergeron from the slot. We hit the end of the second with the game tied at 2 apiece, but Boston starting to pile up shots. 18 in the second period, now out shooting Nashville, 28-17. We hit the third period, and we're 2:07 in. Tanner Jeannot is off to the box, 2 minutes for hooking in the offensive zone. He definitely protested on his way to the box, but the replay clearly indicated that this call was correct. Saros comes up with a huge save on Hall's deflection at the top of the crease. Great smother job right there. Saros comes up with a save on Bergeron's shot from the low slot, set up off of Borowiecki's skate. This was certainly not easy to adjust to, but UC Saros made it look easy. Unfortunately for the Nashville Predators, Brad Marchand scoring his 20th goal of the season just after that, giving the Boston Bruins a 3-2 lead on the power play. It was a wrist shot from the face-off dot, and it went just over the glove and under the crossbar into the back of the net. At 6:28 of the third period, the captain Roman Josi is leading the Nashville Predators right back into this game, tying it up at 3 apiece with his 13th goal of the season. The fourth line, incredibly hard on the forecheck, bringing the jam. Josi trailing the play, gets the pass from Tomasino. Great job right here by McCarron, Luff, and Tomasino working as a full 3-player unit, generating the turnover, getting the puck, gaining control, and then finding Roman Josi open to go ahead and tie this game up at 3 apiece. Truly an incredible effort by the entirety of that Nashville Predators fourth line. At 8:55 in the third period, Ullmark comes up with a save on Duchesne. 11:54. Duchesne gets a rebound opportunity from a sharp angle, but he hits the outside of the post. Thought Matt Duchesne should have converted on this opportunity with how hot he has been as of lately. I actually thought he would have converted on this. At 13:36, we see the Nashville Predators getting an opportunity on the power play. We see Duchesne taking a faceplant on the trip. Then Duchesne hits the iron off of the rush during the power play. 17:33, we see UC Saros comes up with a save on Riley at close range. And this game finds its way into overtime with both teams slugging it out all over the ice throughout all of regulation. The Boston Bruins outshoot the Nashville Predators 41-28 through the first 60 minutes. And once we hit into the 3-on-3 overtime, just 39 seconds in, Matt Duchesne hits the iron yet again, an opportunity to close this one out in favor of the Nashville Predators, unable to do so. At 1:23, DeBrusk hits the post. Nobody to put in his rebound opportunity. It was big and it was juicy laying there in the blue paint, and it just simply could not find its way in because there was no support crashing the net. And then we find the Boston Bruins getting another hit post, but converting on the rebound, and the Nashville Predators finding themselves on the short end of the overtime session, losing this game 4-3 in overtime, but getting a point, being outshot overall by the end of the game 42-29. the Nashville Predators found themselves down 2-0, and fairly quickly in this game, they battled back. They found themselves down 3-2, found a way to battle back, led by the captain, and make it 3-3, and found a way to get that point. If the Nashville Predators had a better start today, it could have been a different result. When it got to be an even game and it got to be straight up, the Nashville Predators were very good against this Boston Bruins team. This was much better than the first time the Nashville Predators played the Bruins earlier this season, but the end result, in 2 games against the Boston Bruins, the Nashville Predators are only able to secure 1 out of a possible 4 points. It's the final time these two teams will meet this season, unless, of course, the path in only one way leads them back together for a best-of-7 series between the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference in a particular 7-game series that I think everybody would enjoy quite a bit. Hell of a matchup, hell of a tilt there on a Saturday afternoon in Boston. The Nashville Predators had an opportunity to go in and take one, but they fell behind, and that rink is very tough to play in. The Preds and the Bruins play a very similar style, and as predicted when we previewed this game, it was a very similar, very physical, very tough game out there. I see that the Nashville Predators delivered hits across the board. We'll have those updated numbers here coming up in a moment. So for the Nashville Predators, now first place on the line as they head off to St. Louis. UC Saros was 40 out of 44 in this game. He's facing too many shots as of late. We've talked about it too much as of late. How many times he's faced 40 shots or more, how many times he's had to make more than 40 saves to secure a Nashville Predators victory. I want Mostradamus to address it, and I want Mostradamus to talk to you about all things happening between the pipes. He's the starting goaltender of the Renegades of Puck. You can find him on Twitter at GreekGoalie35. He is, of course, Mostradamus. Mosh, talk to me about UC Saros. Too many shots against, too heavy a workload. What's your thoughts?
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, hard-fought game for the Nashville Predators up in Boston, a matinee, but of course fell to Boston 4-3 in overtime. Again, hard-fought game by Nashville. They were chasing the game the entire time, and when you're chasing the game and you never lead during regulation, the best you can hope for is to get at least into overtime to earn a point against an Eastern Conference team. Yes, you'd like the 2 points, but you take the 1 point and go home with it because the Preds, again, giving up way too many shots on goal. This has been a troubling trend here as of late. It's the 5th time in the last 6 games the Preds have given up more than 40 shots. You're not going to keep winning if you continue to do that. Now, I know this may be kind of crazy, but the first 5 times this season the Preds gave up 40 or more shots on goal, they were victorious in all 5 games. But again, you can't continue to do that and expect to keep winning. And of course, it finally came back and bit them today in Boston. As we've seen, UC Saros, of course, has been sensational. He bails them out time and time again. We saw it last season too, when there was word of UC Saros, getting into the Vezina conversation, getting to the Hart conversation last season. He basically carried the team into the playoffs. All of last season, his 37 starts last season, he faced 40 or more shots 7 times. That's 5 in the last 6 games. So again, a trend that I'm sure that the coaching staff, John Hines, everybody else, going to address that on their way into St. Louis for Monday and make sure that does not happen yet again to the Nashville Predators. I know you don't have Forsberg. I know today they didn't have Ekholm either, but again, way too many chances against. And look, UC Saros, again, has been fantastic. Even with UC Saros and his .926 save percentage this season, you give up 40 shots per goal against. Even with a .926 save percentage, guess what? You figure that out, that's still 3 goals per game. And that's not what you want. You don't want to be chasing 4 goals to get a victory every single night, especially with the Preds missing somebody like a Philip Forsberg and Matthias Ekholm has been contributing lately offensively. Yes, guys have stepped up, but we talked for a while there how many times UC Saros was giving up 2 or fewer goals. Much easier to win when you only need 3 as opposed to 4 goals to win games. So better defensively in your own zone will lead to more victories for Nashville. Don't keep depending on UC Saros and leaning on him so heavily to try to get you the W's every time. So on to St. Louis, the Preds. I do think David Riddick finally gets a start. I know I've kind of said that he should probably get in there before now, but it's the first of a back-to-back scenario. You come back home to face Vancouver Tuesday. He played well in St. Louis the first time around when they played. He got a 4-3 overtime victory up there back in November, so good on him. And I think that he does get the start based on that performance in St. Louis. Last time was a back-and-forth game. Preds were down 2-0 early on, came back to take the lead. Tarasenko ties the game in the third, and of course Matt Duchene, game-winning goal in overtime to come out with the victory. So I do think it's going to be Riddick against Jordan Binnington in net for St. Louis, first of back-to-backs for the Preds, and see Saros Tuesday at home against the Vancouver Canucks, part of a 3-game homestand. So again, Preds must be better defensively if they want to continue winning. Now, little tidbit here, Nashville playing at St. Louis. The last time the Preds lost a game to a Western Conference team this season, November 27th. It's a long time ago. They lost in Colorado. That was the last time they lost to a Western Conference foe. That's 8 games ago. So 7-game winning streak against the Western Conference for the Preds. They hope to continue that come Monday. Charlie, take it away.
You can find him on Twitter at GreekGoalie35. You can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. He is, of course, Mostradamus. Appreciate you, Mosh, and appreciate you for jumping in the trenches for as many episodes and as many shows as you have over the years. Let me tell you about a great friend and a great partner in Strong Style Fitness. Go to strongstylefit.com or go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and just look for Strong Style Fitness. 150 workouts by a certified personal trainer, all there completely for free on YouTube for you. Whether you're just getting stretching or you're an expert, you're looking for that next big workout, Tracy has something designed for each and every one of you Renegades of Puck. A certified personal trainer that believes in her work so much, she has made her service completely donation-based. Crazy, right? Well, if you don't like it, it won't cost you a penny. So get on over there to Strong Style Fitness and try a workout today. She's even done specially crafted workouts just for the Renegades of Puck. Get off the couch, get moving, get healthy, get motivated, and be in the trenches for the long run, Renegades. A healthy Renegade is a happy Renegade, and I need each and every one of you. An incredible partner, Strong Style Fitness. Now listen, there's a lot of different things I want to hear from Sean C. Smith about. It was a slow start. The Nashville Predators were chasing the game. They were lucky to get a point, and to be honest with you, the head coach, John Hines, did not seem very happy. I mean, for him, this was a game in his home turf. He grew up in the area. He went to college in the area. He played his hockey in the area. The Bruins were his team when he was growing up. He definitely was not happy with the way the Nashville Predators started this game. Sean C. Smith had his eye on it the whole time, and he's got the intel that you need to know. You can find his working on theforecheck.com. You can check him out on Twitter at SCSOTF. And Sean C. Smith announced just on the last episode, we'll also be seeing him at the home base freakout. Sean, show's all yours.
Thanks, Charlie. Hey, Renegades, it's Sean C. Smith, and I'm back again to talk about what we just saw in Boston. The Predators, of course, lost in overtime, and I want to say a little bit about, and I feel like this has kind of become my thing here, is that I give an update on what happens after the game, especially when we get to talk to John Hines. And what I've noticed in the long amount of time I've been covering John Hines, ever since he's been with the team, is I've noticed that he doesn't change his talking points very often because he has a very clear vision for what he expects out of this team. Now, I noticed that some of the things he used to say have kind of disappeared because I think the team has kind of ingrained those into their persona and who they are, their identity. But I've noticed that I'm hearing some new things popping up. After the loss the other night, he talked about challenges. And I think the challenge the other night was coming off of an emotional win, a big win against the Avalanche, and then playing a team like the Buffalo Sabres, who realistically are somewhere near the bottom of the heap. Now, that challenge, I don't think was, can we play with energy? I think the challenge was, can we not get too high when things are good? Which goes back to something he used to say, don't get too high, don't get too low, take the lessons and move on. And lessons is a word that's popped back up in his talking points here in media availability recently. And so I think the team has experienced a lot of success. I think they're getting used to that success. They played well when people have doubted them. Matt Duchene recently said, all the experts had us ranked 4th, and here they are sitting at the top of the Central Division. Now, what's good is we know this team plays very well when people are betting against them. But what you've seen happen over the past few weeks is this is a team that people are starting to say, hey, these Predators are legit. This is a really good team. And this is where John Hines comes in to remind them, when you do well, don't get too high. Just like when you lose, don't get too low. And there's been so much winning, they haven't had to worry about being low. And so they probably got a little bit too excited, maybe a little bit too full of themselves after taking out the Avalanche, and then played against a team where they felt like we're probably not going to have to fight too hard with this one. And so then with that situation, they weren't willing to step up. And the word that he used today after the Boston game, he said there were no passengers today. And I think it's important that we hear what he means when he says passengers. Think about it. What do passengers do? They sit. They don't drive. They don't drive the bus. They don't drive the car. They don't drive play on the ice. If you've got guys sitting around watching, they're passengers. And so he said there were no passengers today. So that tells me that recently they've had a conversation about you can't sit back and watch. You've got to be involved. You've got to drive play. And so I think they took that message today. What happened in those first few minutes where the Bruins went up by 2 really quickly, I don't know. Maybe they just needed a little wake-up call, but it worked. And again, I don't want to be the guy sitting here saying like, well, it's okay that they lost. It doesn't matter that they lost. It does matter that they lose. And it matters that they lose because we see what types of losses some of them can be, especially against the Sabres. You don't want a team that shrinks against a weaker opponent. But at the same time, in this loss today, I think they got the message quick. They took the lesson from that last game and they applied it very quickly and made sure there were no passengers. And that's exactly what you want to see this team do. I got criticism before because I said that I didn't mind the loss so much, saying, oh, all losses are bad. John Hines said it himself. There's no good loss. There's no good loss. But you have to take the fact that the team responded and played up to their character and they were focused on the game and nobody was sitting around watching. Yeah, maybe there were some bad passes. Okay, maybe there were some plays that got picked off. Maybe there were some crossbars that got beat up a little bit by pucks tonight. But the fact of the matter is you saw the team come out and respond, not just from the night before, but to a situation in the game where they got down by 2. It never seemed like they were behind after that because they played so hard. You want to talk about a playoff atmosphere, that's definitely what it was, and I think that's what you want moving forward. But before I go, I want to say something, and I'm going to say this. These jerseys right here, these Renegades of Puck jerseys by Rebirth Sports, good gracious. I wore my brand new away white jersey out today to Ford Ice Center to watch my son play hockey. Had so many compliments. And afterwards, I had to go to the grocery store. And aside from looking really awesome and intimidating, I got a lot of really good looks and people saying, hey, where'd you get that jersey? And I had to tell them it's from Rebirth Sports. So I'm going to tell you what, if you're looking for a jersey, there's nobody better out there than Rebirth Sports to make your jersey and make you look good when you're on the ice or at the grocery store. Or wherever you go, you're going to look good in a Rebirth Sports jersey. So you got something you need a jersey for? I need you to get in touch with Rebirth Sports. And I was going to wear the white one today, but I'm going to tell you, I get in front of this camera with that white jersey on, and everything else gets a lot darker. I switched back to this one, everything brightened up. So I'm going to figure out a way to make sure I can wear it when the Predators are on the road so I can represent the Renegades, whether we're home or away. Charlie, I'm going to send it back to you.
He is Sean C. Smith. Find him on Twitter at SCSOTF. Check out his work on theforecheck.com or listen to him on a myriad of podcasts across the Nashville Predators landscape. He's the best in the business. He's got the intel you need to know. I sure do appreciate having Sean in the trenches. You know who else I appreciate having in the trenches? Nobody has come through bigger for me in the last couple of days than Stripe Digital Solutions. When I had the biggest meeting in Renegades of Puck history, who was there to make sure I had everything we needed for our presentation, for our marketing plan, for our graphics packages, for everything? It was Stripe Digital Solutions. I could not be accomplishing what I am accomplishing today without their help. From the logo you see on the wall right here and the crest you see on this hockey jersey, renegadesofpuck.com, and everything involving our social media platforms and building of our brand, Stripe Digital Solution is helping me in ways that make it to where I can be successful. Without Stripe Digital Solutions, I do not know if the Renegades of Puck would be successful at all. That's how important that partnership is, and that's how much Brandy at Stripe Digital Solutions can do for you, your show, your brand. Reach out. Stripe Digital Solutions can be found at stripedigitalsolutions.com or social media, Facebook and Instagram. Please give some stick taps, give some love, give some respect to Brandy over at Stripe Digital Solutions. She is coming through for you, Renegades of Puck. She's doing it for us. She can do it for you too. Now, I got to get you a couple of numbers. So let me grab this box score right here and tell you about who scored goals for the Nashville Predators today. It was Luke Cunnin and Colt Sissons and the captain Roman Yossi tied the game up 3 apiece. Your assists come from Nick Cousins, also from Philip Tomasino. Philip Tomasino looking good out there today and only 6:43 in time on ice. Borowiecki picks up an assist. Fabro also picks up an assist. The captain of the team leads the team in shots on goal with 9. Also leads the team in block shots with 3. And overall time on ice at 29:32. A huge day for Roman Josi against the Boston Bruins. Now, in the physical category, the Nashville Predators spread it across the board, Matt Luff being the only forward to not be credited with a hit in this game, and Philip Myers being the only defenseman not credited with a hit in this game. But I will tell you, there was one point in this game where Philip Myers was engaged in an incredibly physical battle right in front of the Nashville Predators net, and he was representing himself quite well. It was great to see the referees let these players play. It felt like a bigger game because the refs let them go out there and play. The physical game was incredible today, and the Nashville Predators were bringing the jam across the board. I mean, let me just tell you a couple of the numbers. Tanner Jeannot had 6 hits. Ellie Tolvin had 6 hits. Colton Sissons had 5, and Luke Cunnin had 5. Fabro had 4, and I could keep going. It goes on, it goes on. Even Philip Tomasino had 3 hits in this game. Now, you might be surprised who led the forwards in time on ice. It's Mikhail Granlund at 22:58, but I also wanted to highlight Ellie Tolvin at 21:22. Ellie Tolvin had a very strong hockey game out there tonight. When he starts scoring, they're going to come in absolute bunches, and I know that he's going to start scoring at some point in time very soon, but his overall game has improved so much that he's become an invaluable member of this Nashville Predators team, and I'm just really enjoying watching his growth game in and game out. His attention to detail, how he plays away from the puck, and the physical nature that he's bringing. He's not just the pretty boy sniper goal scorer that stands in Ovechkin's office that some people predicted he might be at this level. He is truly rounding out and developing into a quality NHL player. You know who else is a quality player? He's Brian Baston. He's got the numbers you need to know, and he's running the Renegade Analytics desk. Brian, please, give us your one big stat.
Thanks, Charlie. Just 1 second. Hey there. Yeah, I think that would be great. Do you have any appointments? I don't know, around like maybe the 18th? That's my birthday. Yeah. Yeah, I made a bet on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm sober. Okay. How about in the afternoon? Yeah, 4:30 would be great. Yeah, it's going to go right on my shoulder. Yeah, that would be awesome. Well, I appreciate that. I'll give you guys a call as we get closer. Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, here in about a month, I'll be getting a tattoo. I kept my word. And we'll see you at the Freak Out on the 25th.
He's got the numbers you need to know. You can check out his charts at ontheforecheck.com. You can see him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. And, of course, you can follow him on Twitter at Brian Baston. Reach out. Brian is good people. That's an incredible Renegade to have in the trenches with me right here. And Kyle Perkins, of course, you've seen his work throughout the show. He creates the visuals. He creates the sick memes that help make this show as good as it is. His comedic timing, his talent, his ability, otherworldly. Couldn't do it without you, K-Perk. Couldn't do it without any of you Renegades of Puck. And that's a perfect segue into this. This is our 600th show. 11 years ago, I became tired of being everyone's go-to guy in the studio, behind the scenes, in the hallway, around the station. I worked for a couple of different radio stations, and in case you don't know the history, when I first started my media run as a sports talk format here in Nashville, it was at 106.7 The Fan, for those of you who go back and you remember that. That's back when tracking seats sold versus comp tickets was the most important story in the hockey, and what was going on the ice and who the Nashville Predators had on the team was almost secondary. I was a associate producer on an afternoon show, and I spent almost every day writing down the Nashville Predators attendance, writing down comp tickets, writing down all of the most useless and mundane information that I never wanted to cover when I first started covering hockey. After that, I started providing information about players, about games. I started giving insight. I started giving reports from on location to different shows. Slowly, I was brought into an on-air role as a hockey correspondent. From there, I moved over to WNSR 560 AM, 95.9 FM, and that's probably where many of you pick up the story and many of you get to know me. When I first started over at WNSR, though, I was merely a hockey correspondent and a producer behind the scenes. Again, every show called on me to come on the air and to give them hockey expertise, to give them analysis, And then finally, it was Greg Pogue who gave me an opportunity to come on his hockey pregame party show that happened live at Rippy's and a couple of other locations over the following seasons. Greg Pogue knew that I had a wealth of knowledge and information, and he asked me to come on board, and he asked me to fill in and kind of tell him about the rest of the league. He did a good job of knowing about the Predators for the coverage that was available at the time. As a matter of fact, I give Stick Taps a lot of love and respect to Greg Pogue for the amount of coverage that he did in the early years when so few people, frankly, were willing to step out there on that limb. So Greg had a good handle on the Predators, and I took care of the rest of the league for him. We developed a bit of a friendship, and that led to me being a part of Greg Pogue's programming, and for years and years after that, helping out with the Nashville Predators. Now, what also happened right after that, I proved that I could be an on-air entity, and I proved that I could deliver the goods and bring the jams, not only on live locations, but also in studio. It was decided that Predneck Nation would be born. It was gifted to me by somebody that worked at the radio station, Tom Abraham. Tom Abraham thought it was time for me to get the opportunity to step up, and he thought it was time for me, frankly, to lead my own hockey revolution. A lot of respect for that moment. From there, you know much of the story. Over 10 years on the radio of leading a hockey trench warfare every day. Whether we were on from once a week, Saturday at 9 a.m., where I would constantly get Jerry Helper, and Stick Taps to you, Jerry Helper, and all of you know who Jerry is, or someone else from the Nashville Predators front office to come on the show. I'd get a local person that wrote about the Predators. I would get somebody from the opposition, and we would put together a nice little 1-hour show once a week. And you know what? It was a lot of fun, and it was good practice, and it was good experience, but frankly, it wasn't enough. From there, we moved on to covering home games as part of a new alternative pregame show opportunity. I saw the pregame show at the major network was failing. They weren't giving full coverage, so with an opportunity to do an hour pregame show and have at least 30 minutes where the audience was only listening to my show, we jumped at it. So for all home games, we had a pregame show. After a while, that was great, but it wasn't enough for me, and it wasn't enough for any of you. So we expanded to every game. And then we went to 5 a.m., then we went to 5 days a week, and then we took over the radio. 5 a.m., 5 p.m., twice a day, the first radio show in Nashville history to do such a thing. The first ever exclusively hockey show to ever be featured in afternoon drive in a top 50 market. That's what Predneck Nation Radio accomplished. But after that, there was still more room to grow. The Renegades of Puck were digging trenches much faster than a radio signal could keep up with. So it was time to construct the bunker. It was time to unleash the essence of no half-stepping. And that's where you find us today. What we are doing here in the bunker, and we have only been at it for a few months. We've already won Best Hockey Podcast in Nashville. We've already secured the biggest live event in Renegades of Puck history. We have sponsors coming online. We have partnerships, and we have a lot of incredible things happening. We have a promotional stunt going on across the United States right now, where our jerseys are being delivered to great viewers. We thank you. We appreciate you. Where are we going? That is Ceiling Unlimited. We will continue digging the trenches. We will continue bringing Renegades in one by one, day by day. When we have an event that has 2,000 people or more at it coming up at the home base freakout, everyone will know exactly where the Renegades of Puck are headed. We're headed to the moon. Join us now. Jump in the trenches. Become a Renegade of Puck. We're always welcoming new correspondents, and we're the ones that are willing to give a hand up where other outlets are just going to put a boot on you and keep you down. You want a place where you can flourish? You do it here in the trenches with me and with the Renegades of Puck. Some of the names over the years that have been associated with this show: Jonathan Schaefer, Dan Bradley, Miranda Martin, Brandon Felder, Greg Machopoulos, Sean C. Smith, Brian Bass, and the Ultimate Predator, Kyle Perkins, and former Tennessee Titans general manager Jeff Diamond. Are you kidding me? The amount of people that have come through and gotten opportunities and had their chance here as Renegades of Puck, there are more than what I just named off, and there will be so many more. I will continue giving a hand up to future broadcasters. I will continue mentoring each and every one of you when given the opportunity. 600 shows is a great accomplishment. When we got to 500, I set off fireworks and I went through the roof putting things together, and we put together an incredible show with special guests and all of that. Today, I just wanted to celebrate this milestone between us. I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking with you. We've come a long way, Renegades, but we still have so far to go. I cannot wait for all of you to join me, not in the trenches, but on top of the mountain. I'll see you soon. I can't wait. 601 comes next. Before you know it, home base freak out, then 700, 800, who knows? We can keep going forever. I won't stop. I won't give up. No half-stepping, won't allow it. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. I love each and every one of you, Renegades. Stick taps, love, respect.